Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Inji, and this is a 1961 Renault Dauphine that I'm going to be body swapping onto this 1994 Mazda Miata MX-5 chassis. I'm planning on putting the body of this car onto the chassis of this car, and then hopefully putting in a K24 Honda engine mated to one of these manual transmissions. And in this video, we're going to be talking about these three transmissions, these two being a 5-speed from a Miata, and this being a 6-speed from an RX-8. So starting off with this 1994 Miata chassis, this is pretty much how I got it. It was crash damaged before. The previous owner put these sort of build plates on to start a project, but he never got to it. I did take a windshield out. It was cracked up. I sold the passenger and driver door on this, and then I also sold the trunk lid as well as the dash and the speedo bezel. So it's pretty much stripped out. I have a few parts here and there. I've got the blower motor and the heater core. This car actually only had 90,000 miles on it when it got crashed. So yeah, it's quite a shame. I have seen literally no rust on this chassis at all. I also did take off the rear bumper, which is actually right there, because I'm obviously not going to be using any of that stuff. I was hoping somebody would come and buy it at some point. But yeah, so basically it is a rolling shell. I will be using, it has all the running gear, the mock-up gear. It has, shocks and all the suspension that we need so far. So I'm not going to really be doing much fabrication with this. I will be buying the K-Swap oil pan that K-Power sells that has clearance for the subframe and steering rack. So all those parts are going to come in. Moving on to the Renault. So the way I'm thinking about it, I've done some measurements, and so from shock tower to shock tower, I figured out that it's about from here to about there on that side of the car. So basically all this whole tub is going to be cut out. And then I'm going to probably cut right around here. So to do that, I am going to have to take the fenders off. So let's start on that right now. All right, so I have taken out this bolt, and this bolt. There's also one down here, right there. And then there's a sneaky one over here that holds it there. And then there's another one down here that also needs to be loosened. So all of these bolts have these weird nutserts that used to be in there, but they're just disintegrated and they seized on. These top bolts here, and even that bolt that goes this way, you can grab the nut part with a channel lock, and then unscrew the bolt with a socket. But you can't do that with the bolts over here. There's that bottom one right there. There's a middle one up there, and then there's a top one up there which I got loose. But you can't get to the back of that. So it's gonna be a sticky one, not gonna lie. There's also one sneaky bolt in here. If you can see, right up there where my finger is, and that holds the fender right here. So on both sides. So I've cut a hole. In my, kind of cut a hole. I had rust there already, but I have the back side of that nut. Like I was saying, hopefully we can screw the bottom one And that's that. You just have to do that 40 more times now. Let's take the fender off now. Take a flathead and pry out, especially on these, the ones that are nuts, like these two down here, and the one that's inside under the dash. They get stuck on the threads. It's all sheet metal, so it gets stuck on the threads as it's coming out. So this side's free. This corner here, I don't know. Gotta pry clean the 64-year-old seam sealer. Yeah, you can use this corner as a pivot point to try and get that. And there it is. Wow. Oh my gosh, this is almost rotten full. That's not good. Yeah, I'm gonna have to repair this whole section here with some new metal eventually. Probably hammer out these dents now, much easier. I like the patina sort of sanding they did, but I might hammer out these dents. You can see the backside. It's where the trim pieces are glued on. Ooh! I got all the bolts off this side, pried it out a little bit. Much easier now. Woo! Yeah, I think that's a job well done. Sorry, little guy. I feel sorry for them when they're in this state. It's kind of bare, and the only thing left now is doors. I took these off in the previous videos. So, what's with all these transmissions? Early part of the build, I knew that I wanted to go K-swap, rear-wheel drive, and I was looking for a good chassis to put the Dauphine body onto. I was researching and basically figured out that the Miata is about half an inch wheelbase difference than the Renault, and about 10 inches overall width, which is perfect. I want to do a kind of a wide body stance on this, so it's really kind of a no-brainer on what chassis I wanted to go with. So I started looking for Miata transmissions. I found this core, which was actually sold to me by the guy who sold me the chassis. And it's just a core for mock-up, you know, whatever. It is what it is. Didn't really think too much of it. It was 40 bucks. I was like, you know what? That's basically scrap value in my mind. It'll be nice to kind of visualize the build. Then I found this, another 5-speed off of an NA. A few weeks later, a supposedly working transmission. The guy said he wanted to go 6-speed, so he's selling off some pieces that he's not going to use anymore. Fair enough. You know, that's marketplace. We're only going to find out if it's working when it's in the car. So I thought, okay, not a bad purchase so far. 250 bucks. I thought that was a pretty good deal, even for a 5-speed. And the rest is kind of history with that. So after a bit more research, I figured out that K-Power is pretty much the only company that sells the adapter and flywheel for a Mazda Miata 2 K-Series engine swap. $1,500-1,600 bucks with tax out the door. And to me, that's kind of a lot of money. A few more months of hemming and hawing and eventually almost forgetting about the project entirely, I figured out that the 6-speed out of an RX-8 also works for this swap, and that's what this transmission is, out of an 04 RX-8, 6-speed manual. Got it out of a salvage yard. I didn't pull it myself. It was one of those auto parts recycler places. $280 for this transmission, 6-speed. The car that this came out of actually had a bad engine, and that's why it was junked. And so basically they're selling this as a working, known good transmission. So PMC actually sells a kit for this transmission, made it to a K series with the adapter, the flywheel, and a hydraulic throwout bearing for under $1,000. That's kind of a no-brainer in my mind. I did spend money on these, yes, but I could probably put this on Marketplace for $300 and get $250 for it. You know, I'm not really out all that much. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at this point in the build. So the next step on this build is hopefully to get an engine for it. I'm thinking K24, A2, or a Z3. They're kind of pricey. They used to be much cheaper. Back when I was first looking at these, I could probably get a K24 A2 for probably about $600. Now they're, you know, upwards of $700. I've seen some for $450, but they're really high mileage. Let me know what K-swap you think is actually best for this type of application. It is going on technically a Miata chassis, so I'm going to be getting the K-Power custom oil pan, the oil filter relocation / engine mount kit, and a bunch of other K-Power goodies anyway. So I'm not hating on K-Power here. All that stuff that they sell, it's kind of pricey. The reason I went with Miata, obviously I said before, is that the wheelbases of these two cars are actually very similar. And with that being said, thanks for making it this far in the video. Give a like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know what you guys want to see next on these builds. And yeah, I don't think anyone has ever done this before. If you're looking for a 5-speed, let me know. Cheap. No history. Ran when parked.